Switzerland is known for being one of the most expensive countries in the world. But how expensive is it really to travel here and visit as a tourist? Today, we're gonna find out. We're Nick and Kim, and we spent the last few years traveling the world before converting this Ford Transit van into a camper van that we are now driving across Europe. Right now we're enjoying winter in Switzerland, and today we're going to show you how much it costs to travel in this beautiful country as we head out into the city center of Zurich.
And we're gonna start with the most important meal of the day, some breakfast, some sweets, some coffee.
So we're gonna go to Sprungli, which is super well known here in Zurich for having some of the most fancy patisserie and chocolate around. And even saying it, just Sprungli, sounds very happy.
Alright, got our breakfast here, some Sprungli. And we also got ourselves a cappuccino at Just Coffee, which was a few hundred meters down the street. Specialty coffee store, so we're gonna have a try. That's some really good coffee. Nice and smooth.
But then...
Oh, this is Kim's pastry.
Oh yeah,
pastry.
it is! Look at the
Nice
little
little
colorful
chocolate
sprinkles.
cake with sprinkles. I'm not gonna eat it because it will be
Last thing you
the
do.
last thing I do.
Put that here.
This should be mine. Ooh, it looks good. Look at this. An eclair on a gold plated plate. It's pastry with some chocolate on top. And usually some vanilla cream filling, but in this case it's more chocolate cream filling. Really good.
This was 5 Swiss francs, about $5. Naik's eclair was also 5 Swiss francs. This is a little bit more, 6.5 for a pretty big latte, I would say, at the Just Coffee place. Expensive, still expensive. We've been in Switzerland for a while now. We've been here for a month, so we've gotten used to very elevated prices. And we'll tell you more about all of that in a little bit, about what food costs here, what we paid for sightseeing, to take those really cool cable cars up to the mountains and stuff as well. We're gonna show you a lot more right after I finish my snack.
Alright, it's time to head into the supermarket to see exactly how expensive or even how cheap it is here to go shopping, get yourself some food. Some fresh made soup, about 4 Swiss francs.
For a relatively small package, and it's actually more 4 to 6 Swiss francs for one person. Then we have
A medium-sized sandwich for
your average medium-sized sandwich.
7 Swiss francs. That's quite expensive, I'd say.
That is insanely expensive, and to be honest, it doesn't even look that great. 7 Swiss francs, look at this. Hardly bigger than my hand. Now, if you come to Switzerland and you really want some Corona, you can either go outside, meet people, preferably even inside, take off the face mask and stuff. If you want to come and get it at the shop, it's 2.45 Swiss francs for a single bottle. Do not get Corona, people. It's very expensive. There are cheaper stores out there, but we came to the Coop or Co-op or however you pronounce it because it is one of the more common ones, one of the more popular ones. You can also go to the Lidl and you'll find stuff there usually at around, let's say, 25-30% cheaper for the general stuff, but I mean, it is quite expensive here. Then again, we would be lying if we told you that everything is expensive in Switzerland or in this store in general, because just look at this, the smoked salmon is probably similarly priced to what we would pay for it back home in Belgium. It's actually pretty cheap here. And one other thing that is relatively inexpensive here are avocados, because if you buy 2, they're only 1 Swiss franc each, which is again less than you would pay in Belgium.
If you look at the prices for beef, it goes from 60-70 Swiss francs per kilo up to 100 Swiss francs per kilo. And it's not something fancy like Angus, ribeye or something like that. No, it's just fairly normal steak. That is really steep though. So for example, this piece of Entrecôte beef. It's 200 grams, cost you 20 Swiss francs. Holy crap!
Food especially has a considerably higher price tag than, for example, it does at home. If you were to go out and have a cheese fondue at a restaurant, which is one of the more popular things to have here in Switzerland, if you're coming here for the first time as a tourist, you're easily gonna pay upwards of 100 Swiss francs to have a cheese fondue shared with just 2 people. So that's quite a lot of money. Of course, you can also DIY it the way we did. We sort of have to because restaurants are closed, but there are cheaper alternatives. And later on in this video, we're gonna tell you what our exact travel budget is for the full 1 month that we spent in Switzerland so far. And actually, we think that despite the fact that Switzerland is quite expensive, it's still a relatively good budget.
The good thing though about cities is that most of city activities you can do are free, like walking around, visiting some churches, and getting lost in these beautiful streets here. This is one of the shopping areas, but it's more like the smaller shopping area with lots of nice little specialized shops, little boutiques. In the Altstadt here, it's really nice, very beautiful. And you got these nice, beautiful, cozy little streets and squares you can get lost and just walking around, enjoying sunshine a bit. Doesn't cost you anything.
Because the crisp Swiss air, friends, that is free. You can just smell it. People are gonna think I'm such a weirdo. I am. In a little bit of a rush now because we didn't intend to take a boat ride on Lake Zurich, but we heard that it's super nice and we just walked past it and it's a beautiful sunny day, so we want to take a boat ride. But the last one departs at 2 p.m. and it's now 10 to 2. We got caught up making b-roll in all these beautiful little streets, so pronto.
Alright, got the tickets quickly, people are boarding.
There are several options for the cruises you can take here. There's a 1.5 hour tour, there's a 4 hour tour, and there's a breakfast cruise, a brunch cruise. We were like, ooh, brunch cruise, but obviously restaurants right now aren't open in Switzerland, so it's not possible. Cool. And price-wise, it's actually pretty okay.
Yeah, we thought it would be expensive, but it's 8.8 Swiss francs, which is about 8 euros, $9. So not everything has to be expensive here. This is a really great thing to do here. It's such a nice place to do this.
Unique way to see Zurich.
Yeah.
It actually looks super nice from on top of the water here.
Yeah, it's really nice. By the way, big thank you to Francesca who told us about this. And also thank you, Francesca, for letting us use your washing machine. Big thumbs up.
This little spot right on top of the deck just opened up. Because before we were sitting in the back where you don't have the panoramic view, but I spotted it when I wanted to take some b-roll and I said, let's go. Nothing gets past me.
Slightly colder with the sun. Another big factor in the cost of travel is, of course, activities. You can do some cheap ones like this. You can do a lot of free activities as well, or some very expensive ones. So it depends, of course, on what you want to do. The most expensive things we did are going up Grindelwald first, one of our first videos here. It costs about 65 Swiss francs per person to take up the cable car up to the top. Of course, if you really want to, I guess you can hike up in the snow and ice for a couple of hours, but it's really not feasible if you just want to go for a day activity. So that costs a lot of money. Same goes a bit from Gornergrat. It's one of the famous viewpoints near Zermatt, where you have the panoramic view of the Matterhorn. Really nice. The normal price is about 80 Swiss francs, but we did a half-day ticket, which was 65 Swiss francs. But it also included unlimited sledging, which was really nice. I mean, if you can combine a bit like that and you can be a bit smart about it, then overall cost can be kept low. But other than that, we didn't do any super high expensive activities. We went hiking near the Rhine Canyon, we went to the Rhine Falls, and if you change it up a bit, alternate between the expensive ones and the cheap ones, I think all in all it's actually not that expensive, the activities.
So we thought it could be interesting for you to have a little bit of a look, a glimpse into our travel budget, particularly for Switzerland. We've been in Switzerland apparently for 46 days already.
Oh, that long already.
Which is quite a long time, yeah. During that time we have spent 3,070.4 euros to be precise. That averages out to around just under 67 euros per day for 2 people. So 33.5 per person per day.
Doesn't include just travel costs, it includes a bit of everything, even some small things we had to buy. It excludes the clothes and the chairs that we bought because since we live in a van, travel around with our van, it doesn't include any hotel costs. We'll get back to that a bit later. It also does not include any camping grounds because we didn't do any campgrounds because they're generally quite expensive.
Mucho
about
dinero.
50 Swiss francs. I think only we stayed at one place overnight where we could get electricity, and that was it. So in 46 days, only like one cheaper night.
41% of that budget went to groceries, which is about 27 euros per day. Now, generally, we do try to keep our groceries as cheap as possible. We shop at Lidl and Aldi, the cheapest stores, grocery stores available.
And we hardly buy any meats, and it's very occasional that we eat meat, especially here in Switzerland since it's so expensive, as we showed you earlier.
Yeah, occasionally we do splurge for like Naik's birthday or when we have something to celebrate or something. 27% went to gas because obviously we drive this van pretty much everywhere we go. That equals about 18 euros per day. It is reasonable. Switzerland also isn't that big, so the distances aren't that far.
10% went to specifically entertainment, about 315 euros or about 7 euros per day. That mostly includes going up to the Gornergrat, going up to Grindelwald First, going sledging, those kind of things. Most activities we have been doing were actually free, like walking around, hiking and stuff like that. So I think on a day-by-day basis, very reasonable.
8% went to restaurants. Now, mind you, we know restaurants are closed in Switzerland. They're still closed. We did not secretly go to any restaurants. That's just takeout that we got. Generally at stuff like pizza places or McDonald's, not like proper fancy restaurants.
No, we didn't do any proper restaurants or takeout at restaurants. We just ordered a few pizzas and went to McDonald's.
And then there is the other category. 14%, about 9 euros per day, went to stuff like our data plan because we have an unlimited data plan on a Swiss SIM card that Naik bought here.
It's 50 Swiss francs a month, which is reasonable for unlimited 4G data.
When you come into Switzerland with your own vehicle and drive around here, you also need a road vignette, which is another 40 euros that we had to spend upon coming into Switzerland. Then there's some stuff like fancy tunnels and a lot of sundries that are in that category as well. But so overall, 67 euros for the 2 of us per day. We're super happy with that budget.
So as far as hotel goes, probably one of the bigger expenses you can get here. As you said, we didn't go to any hotels because we have our own driving hotel here. So let's have a check for Zurich at a random date next month, 24th of April. At the lower end of the price range, you have about between 60 and 80, 90 euros per night, which is already quite steep because these are the cheapest options available. And looking at some of the nicer options here, talking about 150, 200 euros per night. Whew.
Add to our budget at least, let's say, if you want to be reasonably comfortable, you're looking at, I think, 160 euros per day for 2 people, probably. Adding in a little bit more for transportation and a hotel at 80 a night, that's probably what you get.
Yeah, probably closer to 200. If you want to do some more restaurants, maybe do some more activities that you have to pay for, I think about 300 euros for 2 people would be
a really comfortable budget.
A reasonable budget, a comfortable budget.
A comfortable budget. The goal is not to say, oh, it's expensive, don't come here. It is a beautiful country and it is well worth a visit. And you can do it on a reasonable budget if you're willing to save a little bit on some stuff.
Or sleep in your car.
Or sleep in your car like us. If you're willing to either save on activities or food, you don't even have to save on everything. You can go camping instead of going to a hotel. There are loads of possibilities here and it is really a beautiful country. Any questions that you might have about our budget, about our travels here? We've been here for 6 weeks. Whoop whoop. Anything you want to throw at us, let us know in the comments. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button and the subscribe button. See you in the next one. Bye bye.